All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Just coming back in. Been a couple things going on, but glad to be back. We got the man up Mondays with the judge. It should be pretty interesting. Um, Once a month, I always try to get him on and try to touch base with him and see where he's at. It's very interesting. Let me get him see where he's at. I'm glad that everybody's doing all right. Hopefully as they come in. Let me see. Where is he? So um but yeah, a lot of stuff going on in the world today. We got the crazies running amok. We got the vaccine passport. We got so much stuff going on, man. This stuff is getting crazy. But once again, when I touch base with everybody, I just want to see how everybody's doing, everything like that. So, you know, what else we got going on? Woke corporations running amok again, and so forth and so on. As I use the old saying, go woke, get broke, or whatever the saying is they use. Get woke, go broke, or something. But it is what it is. Um, yeah. So um, people well know that things going on in the world. I see today there was an article with Clarence Thomas when he said that these companies could become public utilities for their censorship. And I really don't have a problem with it. I say Uncle Clarence was right this time. Um, let's see. If you want to reach me you can give me a kingbjbday.com. And you can also, if you feel like it, donate to $1919 BJ. That's Cash App. So, with that being said, hello, brother. Um, that being said, let me see where the judge is at. Um, dang, he come in late sometime, but let's get him on. Let's see. Let's see how this is going. Um, let's see. Okay. I hope everybody had a good weekend or um celebrating the God of fertility. Oh, you want to put it in the description? Oh, okay, I can do that. I mean, usually, like I said, this donation is voluntary. I'm not asking, but if you want to do it, then whatever bless you do. Yes, sir. Um, but anyway, just getting to back to the basics. So we got a lot of things going on in the world, and I think people need to understand this agenda they pushing is coming really fast. I've seen more stuff, but I'm actually glad that Trump had came out and actually blasted some of these woke corporations because the stuff has really got to stop. Um, this council, yes, this council culture is getting out of hand and is getting really, really sickening. But at the same time, we have to be vigilant, fight back, um, and stand up to the woke mob. I've seen, I've seen more wokeism lately than I can stand, and I think it's time to cancel the cancel culture or the censorship because it's more like trans culture. I was talking to a friend the other day. He came back from Sacramento, and I got to go to his funeral tomorrow. I mean, his dad's funeral, and he was explaining to me how woke California is, so much diversity, but there was also so much, like you could get 30 days in jail or suspended or whatever if you say the word faggot in uh, California or something. So you can use the word nigga all day, but I guess you can't say faggot. So it's wow. And that's another thing I've been having. Got to talk about a lot of health stuff lately soon. A lot of things been going on the health front with a lot of people. So I just, really just want people to watch their health and understand um, that take care of your body, get your vitamins, nutrients. Uh, your immune system is your best defense. Um, watch out for dementia, Alzheimer's, and other contributing factors of other diseases. So, that being said, I hope the judge hurry up and comes in. We're almost at 12 o'clock here on the East Coast, 11 o'clock in his time. But I think that he'll come on and we're going to have some interesting stuff to talk about. Probably be on for a little bit. So, hey, it is what it is. Congratulations to the people out of Texas. Shout out to Sherry Dawson and others. Mr. Valentine, Roberts, McClure, and others in Texas out there as well. Shout out to them. Let's see, the Baylor Bears won the championship. That's in Waco, Texas. But shout out to them for beating the Gonzaga Bulldogs. It's interesting. Um, Very interesting. Um, right now, MLB basketball, they're gonna lose some ratings because of their woke corporation stances, but it is what it is. You get tired of all this woke stuff, so um, we also have to look out for a lot of other stuff that's coming down the pike. HR 127, HR 1446, and more. Um, by the way, and then we have to also talk about the psyop of anti-Asian hate, which is one of the biggest jokes going right now as well. Um, give me something right quick, and I'll be right back. Gotta do something right quick, and I'll be right back. Yeah, but you say get woke and go broke. So let's go. Also, I'm probably going to talk about a little bit of Deshaun Watson, psyops in Houston, which is very interesting when you really get down to the nitty gritty of the whole ordeal. So that's very interesting as well. So he should be joining any minute, so we can that'll be good. I'm glad he's coming on. All right, top of the hour, just like I predicted. Wow, that's good. Hold on, let me get him on. Let's see, he should be on any minute now. Interesting. Let's see. So I just want to know how's everybody doing in their city. If you live in Colorado, hey man, I guess you had a baseball all-star game. The Whoop Mob doesn't calculate for you. Um, Personally, I would not be watching. I mean, actually, baseball only has 3% of Black American players in it anyway now, so um, that's kind of interesting. They're making such a big deal out of that. I think about all the black businesses that got taken out, and you know, could have had a lot of business in the city of Atlanta, but hey man, Whoop Mob took your money from you, man. But it is what it is. So um, let's see. I don't know where the judge at, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking for. Let's see. You're right about that skinny bone. Because Atlanta's about 55% black. Even though it is gentrifying a lot, you still shit on that city. I totally agree with you. 100%. I totally agree with you on that. Because that makes no sense, man. I'm like, wow. Like, hey, look, man, you know, we we just give it up too easy, you know, and we don't fight back. So I don't understand. Um, you know, I like to talk about fighting back, but I don't understand why we don't. But with that being said, let the man of the hour come in. Hey, how you doing, sir?
I think I'm it. All right.
You
Unless
doing
I
all right,
came
sir?
back to haunt somebody or something, and I'm dead. But I think I'm still breathing. Yeah. Breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are things going in Tennessee?
Weather's up and down.
We're 70 something here.
Situations are strange. People
Okay.
can't get the vaccine if they want it.
I got a
They're
question for
still
you.
going off on 55 and above and no one below unless you're in one of the risk categories.
So I got a question for you because there's been a lot of speculation. Well, not speculation. You got Iowa, Tennessee, and one other state that governors have said about this careless permit thing. A lot of people want to know about it.
Well, what happens is Tennessee's legislature passed a law. The governor is to sign it this week, I understand, which says that you don't need a permit to carry.
Okay.
If you're eligible to purchase a firearm, you're eligible to carry.
Well, that's just like the right to bear arms. I mean, I don't see what's the big
Well,
deal.
yeah, but see, technically, there's all kinds of confusion, like especially in the South. They had this thing for years on most states' books that said something like, it is illegal to carry a weapon a concealed weapon with intent to go armed unless one is carrying the Army or Navy pistol openly to the hand, which means in a belt holster. And you're carrying a 36 Navy or a 44 Army or something the equivalent thereof. I guess that'd be a 38 special or a 45 auto nowadays, or a 9 millimeter since it's a military pistol. But they kind of replaced that with
Okay.
concealed carry stuff about 32 years ago, 33 years ago. So it's a shall issue state. In other words, if you qualify, they have to issue it to you, and it's done through the Department of Motor Vehicles. As it stands at this moment, essentially, if you're eligible to buy one, you're eligible to carry one, but you have to make an application. You have to take the training so you get the basic nomenclature, the rules of safety. Don't point at anybody. Keep your finger off the trigger, out of the trigger guard. et cetera, basic safety, and you have to go to the range and demonstrate that you can hit something 7 yards away. I think they make you fire 5 shots at 15 yards. So if you pass that, you need a $50 application fee, and you take that to the Department of Motor Vehicles with the paperwork, and they issue your carry permit using the same photo you use for your driver's license, and your carry permit has the same ID number as your driver's license.
Okay.
So you renew every 2 years, but you don't have to go through any tests. You just go down and pay the fee. Now, that's about it.
Okay. Well, speaking of legal stuff, I'm gonna stick in the realm right there since we're going on that realm. So the situation with the Google Supreme Court case, your thoughts? I see Clarence Thomas
I
said
don't like it.
Clarence Thomas said that these companies should be public utilities or something like that.
No, that's not what is going on. The case that bothers me with Google, it has nothing to do with that. This other firm came up with some novel software, right?
Okay.
So Google wanted to license it from them. So they were haggling about the price. So Google didn't like it. So Google just took 11,500 lines of software and used it in their latest phones any damn way and said, screw you. So they were being sued for damages and violation of copyright since it's written. And the Supreme Court on a 6-2 decision said that on fair usage, Google could use it. So that, well, I don't always agree with Clarence Thomas, but this time I had to. He indicated that it has a chilling effect on people who might want to invent something and open up a small business if a giant like Google can just buy a few copies and steal it.
Okay.
So I don't see how that is not technically a patent because somebody has to write it. Now, I have to read the decision again, and I'm unclear as to whether they went through the whole steps of formally copyrighting the material with the Library of Congress. But in
Okay.
any event, there is some novel stuff about it that would used to give somebody a pending copyright. But Google isn't worth shit to me anyway, which is one reason I don't like the StreamYard shit you use, because you got to go through Google. And my desktop tells me we don't phase with Google. We can't use Google as a net provider because it's got too many hazards for your security system. So, you know, just take it as it is. So what my delay is every time I get through, uh, even my iPad, is all lit up about security violations. So I just dump it and reload it every time I come on because it's a pain in the ass. But Google, see, and Facebook, they're dangerous. They're right in there with Big Brother. I told you this before. New Year's Eve 2017, 2018, they had a big thing in Times Square. They dropped that ball in New York. And they had some terrorist warnings or something like that. And this news reporter was interviewing this captain of NYPD. He said, well, aren't you nervous about this? He says, no, we know about 87% of this huge crowd out here by name. The person said, well, how in the world do you do that? He said, well, Google has cooperated with Facebook, and we're using Facebook's facial recognition algorithms, and they cooperate with law enforcement. So all of the jerk faces that like to take pictures in a bar, restaurant, or wherever in the hell they happen to be, everybody that's standing in the picture, even if people don't even know jerk face who are in the background, they get absorbed into this, and Facebook's algorithms eventually analyze them. So we have 85% of the adult population in the United States right now is identifiable by Facebook's facial recognition algorithms. So they claim it's so you can find friends or they can put friends together, which I call bullshit on. I'm thinking they're trying to get an advantage by cooperating with the government. Now, supposed to be for security, but I think that's garbage. I just think it's for some fascist asses that are trying to impose. That's like Associated Press, which has no law enforcement credentials, no viability as an investigative agency other than as they do what they do to sell newspapers or feeds. They have declared there's no fraud in this election at all. Again, I call bullshit because that ain't their job. Unless they're trying to get over into something, which I think they are. And I've always said to people, there's a new day and time. The so-called left side, the liberal side, is for 220 years been deep off into trying to protect the Bill of Rights, and the conservatives with this, what have you got to be worried about if you haven't done anything? Why would you protest to police coming in your home and looking if you have nothing to hide? I just don't want somebody, Bigfoot, somebody walking on my floor. Okay, fine. Private. So for 220 years, the people that have been protecting the Bill of Rights and personal freedom been on the left. But the folk that are now identified with the left, they want everybody to know that damn business. And they have algorithms for every time they take a picture, it overloads the system by sending it to their 43 friends, whatever, or 51, whatever. They just want to put all that pathetic, lacking business out in the street for everybody. Oh, I was in a restaurant and they had blue Jello and I ate some and it quivered.
Wow.
Lame ass of life. But they have encouraged this. So in the last 15, 20 years, all of these folk that were from the side that used to protect the Bill of Rights have been morphing into the bad guys, and they're like Nazis, fascists, and they want to give up this rights because, oh my God, who needs assault rifles? Oh my God, why should anyone be allowed to carry a gun? What do you need one of those things for? Oh my God, oh, we need to be protected. So when you don't have the ability to protect yourself, somebody's got to protect you. But the problem is if you give somebody that authority to protect you instead of, are you all right? Everything okay? You will present me with your papers, yeah? Fritz, he does not have his papers. Got Hummel, comrade. It is not good, and it's not good one. Man, what you talking about papers, man? You mean ID? He has his papers. Wunderbar.
Speaking, I'm glad you
They
said
drift
this.
off into that shit and they don't get it.
Speaking of ID, there's been a lot of speculation about Georgia's new voting bill.
I like it. I like it. If you too goddamn lazy to get your lame ass up to go register and deal with it, you too stupid to vote. And you will respond to some bullshit like take your booties to the poll. We looked that shit up. I interviewed that woman and she wanted to get all hot, hostile about it like she knew everything. I said, you lame, ignorant fool. I'm trying to be polite on your ass. Little bougie, bully thing, But anyway, we looked up the names. A third of those little butt shakers on the poll were trannies, drag queens. So they got you looking at some boy booty, and they're supposed to take your booty to the poll. If you're so goddamn ignorant that you don't want to know the issues, the arguments, the policies, and such like, and you respond to take your booties to the poll, you the ignorant sucker that doesn't need to vote. Keep your ass at home.
Okay, I want to read this to you.
I know it's probably sickening. The news media has been totally
It's not
taken over.
It's a statement by Trump. It's a statement by Trump.
Oh, Trump, go ahead.
For years, the radical left Democrats have played dirty by boycotting products when anything from
he posted that about Coca-Cola and all that bunch trying to boycott Georgia. They didn't have any problems with it, but they listened to the wrong Negroes. They listened to the people of color, not black folk. See, and they listen to that bullshit. I usually, when I go out, I get 8 or 9 cases of Diet Coke and stuff like that, Coke Zero. I'll be goddamn if I'm buying a drop of that bullshit. I am going to get healthy, and instead of ordering Diet Coke or Coke Zero, if they don't have Diet Pepsi in the restaurant, I'm drinking water. God damn it! I will not have a goddamn Coca-Cola cross my lips for a long time. And that other bunch that's on there,
Merck,
they ain't buying shit from.
UPS.
And I'm gonna tell everybody, I'm gonna get that list, and I'm gonna say, don't buy a goddamn thing on this list. Boycott these son of a bitches, because they want you to respond to the dog whistle. You know what the dog whistle is? All them ignorant woke folk, the what is it? The Hotep fools, and the name is Imhotep, by the way, not Hotep. They sit there and they go, oh my God, you know, they sit there, they down into brothers. Oh, they goddamn lying fools. All they had to do was say, it's discriminating against black. It's discriminating against black folk. Man,
Okay.
what's wrong with you?
I'm not gonna read the whole.
Everything's so messed up anyway, but mindless drivel is being put in the heads of fools so they don't even know what they're voting for, and they go out there and vote for it. Because their slave masters told them.
Okay, so I'm gonna just give you the corporation.
Read me the thing. Read me the corporations, please, so everybody can hear. Let's boycott them.
Boycott Major League Baseball, which I don't even watch.
Goddamn boring. I don't need to go to sleep. I can take a goddamn sinus problems that I get from allergies and go to sleep, or I can watch a damn boring ass baseball game. Who
Delta Airlines. JP Morgan Chase
is one of them. Yeah, I ain't flying Delta anymore.
JP Morgan Chase, Viacom,
I don't bank with them any damn way.
Viacom, CBS.
Fuck Viacom and CBS. They owe me too goddamn much money. They cheated me out of. Screw them.
Citigroup.
I don't deal with them.
Cisco, UPS, and Merck.
Shame about UPS. I used to work for them 55 years ago. I was a teamster, loaded and unloaded trucks.
He said, don't go back to their products until they relent. So what I'm going to say about that, what I'm about to say about that, this is what Martin Luther King told you back then. So I don't know what's so hard about this problem.
We don't boycott unless Mauser tell us to be boycott. Coca-Cola and all them squazy little queer folks say, oh my God, it'll keep us from getting more power from the people of color if they don't get to take their booties to the poll when we tell them to. Oh my God.
Well,
that was sort of set up. Me and you talked before this went down, and I said, you know, this is some bullshit. They're just setting this up for fraud. And Associated Press said there's no fraud. Fuck Associated Press. Most of these little junior grade 23-year-olds to get all the data and write that garbage for them wouldn't know it if they saw it. I have represented, dealt with, and presided over stuff involving murderers, thieves, drug dealers, the dope man, pimps, hoes, gangsters, organized crime figures. I know what it looks like, and I can tell when somebody's trying to set your dumb ass up. This stuff where they were talking about all of this mail-in ballot crap without having to show up to register. I said, oh, that's fake. I said, any damn fool ought to be see how that's faking. And then you get these places where there's no fraud, and you got 102.7 vote turnout. The most you can get is 100%, but you got 102. That means there are more ballots cast than there are people to cast them.
Well, yeah, but it's also kind of fraudulent too, because if you look at it in the context,
it's fake. It's fraud.
Only it's 30. Only if you go look at the United States elections, you go just take a research paper of it, you'll find that in any general election, only 30 to 35, maybe even 40%.
Yeah, this is the highest election turnout since 1870 something, supposedly. And by the way, 1877, they had fairness in voting law passed that says you're supposed to appoint a 15-man commission. 5 senators, 5 House of Representatives people, and 5 from the U.S. Supreme Court. And they're supposed to have a delay on the Electoral College
What do you think about
return
this comment,
until
Judge?
they investigate it.
What do you think about that? If I was a corporate board member, I would vote to cut a CEO for getting into that type of stuff, political stuff.
Well, your CEO is that asshole Joe Biden.
Who's pushing the lie?
See, the president.
He's pushing the lie.
See, here's the deal. People don't know what the president does, and these lying bastards have been telling you, I'm going to cut taxes. Under the Constitution of the United States, Article 1, only the House and the Senate can set taxes or reduce them. The president can't. I'm going to do this. No, there has to be an enablement and an appropriation act by Congress. The president can't do it. If they've authorized the money to be spent at his discretion, he can, but they got to authorize it. I'm going to, what president is going to give us reparations? The president can't give it because you have to have a drastic alteration of the law relative to sovereign immunity, statute of limitations being cleared, and all kinds of other stuff, establishment of eligibility, and an enablement and appropriations act.
Okay.
And even the Congress is ignorant. Remember the first set of articles of incorporation against Trump? Obstruction of Congress. Article 1 of the Constitution says the Congress of the United States shall consist of 2 houses, 2 chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate. So when the House sends one over obstructing Congress, that means all the Congress. And if all he did was obstruct the Democratic House, he is not obstructing his own party that runs the Senate. So that's dead on arrival. That's how stupid they are. They didn't even know what to call themselves. They are representatives, not congressmen. A congressman is a representative and a senator. Where that came from, dipshit ignoramuses, is that back in the 19th century, when the only one you could vote for was a representative and you couldn't vote for senator because they were appointed by the states, then when they talked about the congressman, elect the congressman, they were talking about somebody who went to Congress who had to be a representative. So they don't even know what they're supposed to be called. That's how stupid you are. You got a job, you're getting paid good money, you're supposed to be there, all kinds of hourless times, just to take care of your business. If you do, and they don't even know what to call themselves. Stupid.
Okay.
I'm stupid. Hey, man, you real bright, man. You don't even know what to call you. What's your name, man?
So how do we feel about but I was looking at something the other day, and there's been a big push in the Arkansas governor in a shocking thing that they vetoed the thing for transgenders. He said he's going to put this 11 legislative body to handle that, but he vetoed. He said it's too broad, and that would be a government overreach for them to get involved with tranny with sexual reassignment surgery. That's the doctors.
No, you know where the whole thing comes in. Constitution of the United States, and I know the one in Arkansas also says basically there's a separation of church and state. Protected categories right now are race, color, national origin, sex, age, infirmity, and religion. Religion actually is a matter of choice, but most people don't have much choice about it because they are indoctrinated, brainwashed by the time they get 4 years old. They're pissing in their diapers and mama is trying to change, not miss what the preacher's saying. And they keep getting this put in their head so they have no choice. Well, the state itself, the state or the U.S. government can't get into teaching this religion. Well, they want the state, the U.S. government, to be involved in teaching this secular religion of LGBTQ. They want the state to have LGBTQ acolytes, preachers, evangelists for LGBTQ, talk to these children 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old in school. They want the LGBTQ cult religion taught to the children. They want gay sex taught to them. They want to have it enforced where if you were a girl, you have to wrestle these boy freaks who got swinging dicks and they're sick in the head. I'm a girl, bullshit, fool. You just can't cut it in the varsity. So sit your ass in the goddamn bleachers like everybody else who can. So, in other words, with this particular secular religion based on queer sex, the state becomes the primary engine of indoctrination and proselytization and the conduct of the cult. See, that's what's so bad, but so many stuck on stupid young lawyers now that never got taught to think, oh, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Since when? I always wanted to be a judge. Well, goddamn, you ain't but 23 years old. Well, I want to be a judge. That's why I'm going to law school. How the hell do you know you would be a good judge? Have you ever tried a goddamn case? Well, I don't want to try cases. I just want to be a judge. Well, then how the hell are you talking about you want to be a judge if you've never even tried a case? Plus, how many mortgages have you paid? How many kids have you sent to school? How many folk have you seen jacked around that you had to solve their problems with? So how you going to sit your ass on a bench and make decisions for folk and you don't know a damn thing about life? Well, I've studied. No, goddamn it, you're getting taught about life by a jackass who wants to tell you about life and he doesn't even know what the hell it is himself. Little blue check airbrush China doll types, you know. So what gives here? I want to do this. I want to do that. But yeah, there's a lot of, I don't want to do that. I've always had my, well, they've had their heart set on it. So we shouldn't make it too difficult for them because if we do, they may have a drastic, they may take a drastic blow to their self-esteem. Bullshit. The world is cold-blooded. Smack the sucker upside his goddamn self-esteem head. Go, pump ass. You know?
Hey, look.
Get real.
Look, I'm glad you said that because YouTube was actually having a thing where they saying like if they got the dislike content. A couple weeks ago, Joe Biden
I saw that,
and they cut the shut off. Okay, now they're saying they're doing that because people put comments and they want to stop cyberbullying, which can cause depression.
Feelings. If your punk ass can be hurt by that and want to kill yourself, take your weak ass out. We don't need you. E.T. may land day after tomorrow. What the hell we gonna do with your ass?
What?
Feed on him. Eat that motherfucker right over there. That one. Eat him.
Well, what was amazing to me, well, it wasn't amazing. It was, but really they just saying they just showed you how many dislikes Joe Biden had in that damn speech, that press conference. That was really the problem.
Wasn't that dumbass? That dude sounded like he has just, you know what? The White House is becoming an assisted care facility. He needs help.
Well, it fell
ambulatory, barely falls down. He falls up the stairs 3 times trying to get on a jet plane. What's wrong with this fool?
Well, I want to segue into a topic because it's been a big topic of late, and that is this thing of anti-Asian hate crap that they've been.
Okay, you know, the congressman from the 9th district, which is 91% black, he's a white gay Jew boy in a damn wheelchair. He's been gay all his life. I've known him 40 years. They lie about he got some unknown woman pregnant. They paid her to say that, but nobody can produce a kid. And he represents this 90-some% black district. And the only legislation this idiot is introduced in 12 goddamn years is a binding resolution that requires the congressional cafeteria to serve paper straws. Anyway, he's the chairman of the House subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee that's in charge of this BS. So he says there are 3,280 Asians that were attacked, robbed, shot, stabbed, beat up last year. Well, that was a few hundred less than the year before and a few hundred less than the year before that. And you know what it reflects? I don't want anybody to get jacked up. You know what it reflects?
It's almost consistent every year, though.
No, but you know what it reflects? a low percentage of suckers that be doing business down in the hood selling weaves, wigs, nail jobs, liquor, and overinflated price junk food and garbage at a convenience store.
Okay.
Doing business in the hood. Their statistics are lower than they are for black folk who try to do business down in a black hood. You see anybody about, let's protect the black people from anti-black violence. Oh my God.
Well, I look
And
at
these
it.
are the same folk. When's the last time you went in a Korean place?
Been a while.
And how well did you get treated in there? Pretty fucked
What?
up, right?
They look at you and follow you
Yeah,
around.
you in a hood and you treat the people in the hood that you ripping off with your high prices for convenience. Yeah, you get, you ain't exactly dealing with Miss Etiquette out there. Let me tell you something, goddamn it. I'm gonna be back with my brother. We gonna jack your ass, See, I hate to say it. There should be public peace, dignity, and order in the hood and everywhere else. But their statistical status in terms of attacks is low. And then here's the other thing, too. Let me get my something here. Okay. Now, what do we have? We have.
They got a website called Stop AA, Stop Asian American Pacific Island to Hate. Everybody look up Stop Asian American Pacific
Okay,
Island.
I'm just going to do this. Okay, there are 365 million people in the United States.
Okay. Could be more than that with all of the influx in the border.
3,250 divided by 360.
5 million.
By 360 million, that equals this.
Oh, wow. That's nothing.
That's nothing. See this?
Yeah.
0.0000902777. That is less than the statistical fluctuation in the reality index in physics. In other words, it didn't happen. There are more people that bust their skulls slipping on an icy sidewalk. So what are we going to do? My God, these horrible sidewalks get icy where Asians slip and fall.
Well, let me say something about this. I got something to say about this now. Okay. Well, with that being said, because I'm gonna stick right here for a minute.
I mean, nobody should be jacked around for what they are. We catch
there was an
hell for as a people. But
NBC
I mean, come on. Let me say this one point. You know where this is really going?
Well,
how often have we talked about the burning of the Reichstag, 1934?
Oh, yeah, the Nazis, yeah.
The Nazis burnt down the German parliament building. They blamed the communists. They even executed some poor scapegoat. And what they did is they cracked down with all these draconian laws. If you read the proposals, see, that's a big two-edged sword. It doesn't just deal with Asians, but it gives authorization to enable some devices that can be used for totalitarian oppression. And where do you think those laws are going to be first applied?
Black community.
Now, I'll give you another statistic. BLM disclosed they raised $97 million last year. Do you know what the operating budget was for Al-Qaeda when they did the 911 thing?
Yeah.
36 million. They got 3 times Al-Qaeda's guiding budget. You read that part I showed you where it's in the fine print. We organize and arrange communications and transportations for demonstrations and protest.
Yeah.
See, that's where the money and the finance has been coming from to do all that bullshit you see about what I call them little vanilla cupcakes with some chocolate sprinkles who are sitting there doing an extended spring break. By the way, speaking of which, my alma mater, LAPD with their Gestapo selves, Zeke Heil, your peoples, please. Yeah. They are being very indulgent because UCLA students are burning up wood, furniture, and everything in the middle of the street, all up and down Westwood, a village outside of UCLA, because they're protesting UCLA lost in the feed round for the basketball championships. Same kind of thing. And what did I say? It's just cabin fever, spring break, and BLM was an excuse. Meanwhile, Antifa and LGBTQ, the cult, were trying to get rid of Trump because he wasn't pro LGBTQ. Now, I don't have anything against gay folk. I just have a thing against a cult LGBTQ because I don't like what they do. See, the church has no business being part of the state, and the state has no business being part of LGBTQ as its primary instrument of spread, protection, and inculcation.
Yeah. Now let me say something right here about this Asian thing, because there was an article that came out like in the middle of March, and it said how a hurting community and what it needs from its first Asian American vice president. Oh
Mrs.
wow,
Emhoff. Mrs. Emhoff.
Asian. I thought she
Yeah.
was black last week, but now she's Asian. Remember that? They actually admitted.
I'm a person of color. And I fooled you, Negro. Is that what you call you? No, you're black now, right? Oh, God damn, that is.
But you knew she was Asian the whole time.
That's creepy, man.
You knew she was Asian the whole time.
Yes. See, here's what happens. Her father's from Jamaica, and her birth certificate was mistaken. I've seen a birth certificate like that because my ex-wife was born in that same hospital that same year. Okay. Now it says race of mother and it says Caucasian. Oh, she's dark, but you see, she's what's known as an Indo-Aryan. Keep that in mind. Aryan, as in Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Nation, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Aryan supermen from the far north, a la Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. That, by the way, is the result of a lie told long and loud. We still believe that lie today, and people think of Aryan, including Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Nation, and all this other stuff. And now people think you're blonde if you're an Aryan. But you see, Aryans did have something to do with the German people, but they were paper bag brown, a little darker than me to your complexion, with frizzy dark hair and dark eyes. And they were the Aryans, and they did originally settle Germany way back when. Now, her mama on her birth certificate is listed as Caucasian. Father's race is blank. No, excuse me. Father's nationality is blank, but his race says Jamaican. Hers says Jamaican and Caucasian. His just says Jamaican. So she ran with that because it's a duplicate. And I know it's a duplicate because it's not the original. My ex-wife lost her birth certificate and it did not look like that one. It looked like the one you see from Kamala Harris because we had to order her a duplicate to get a passport. So that form came into effect 15 years later. So when she was applying for this scholarship at Howard, she lucked up on that, and they assumed because nationality got transposed with race that he must have been black. Now, if you go to Jamaica now, well, hell, friend of mine, he retired. His wife was born in Jamaica. His wife's parents were born in Jamaica. She's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and her parents are, one of them redhead and the other one blonde. And grandparents are English nobility. I says, you know, Is it all right with you if we simply uh, drop a few things? You know, the Queen has invited us by for tea, you know, that kind. But she's blonde haired, blue eyed, and she's a Jamaican native. Ain't no way in hell she's black. So Professor Harris, in an article he wrote, called his daughter a liar and a fraud. Now, they've cleaned that up since she was president elect, and the paper has it online now where they take that out. It's cleaned up. And they have a picture of her father's grandmother that everybody wants to claim is black, but he says is a Hindu Brahmin, not Hindu Brahmin, but a Hindu servant. All right. He even says some of my ancestors were white plantation owners who owned slaves. See, he admits the Irish. I know two somebodies from Jamaica that know him. Said he's always been a Hindu who says, I got a little Irish in me. You know, we're part of the Commonwealth, the old English Empire. So, you know, even the dirty Irish got around a bit.
Okay.
But she's faking it. Oh,
Well, hey,
she's faking it. And the AKs are saying, oh, you're just jealous because she's the first black Greek to be vice president. She's not the first black Greek. She's not the first black Greek anything to be vice president. White boy, blue-eyed, bald-headed Hubert Humphrey, Lyndon Baines Johnson's vice president and Democratic Party candidate for president running unsuccessfully against Tricky Dick Nixon in 1968 was an Alpha Phi Alpha. He got made in Minnesota back in the 30s and then went through a grad chapter later on. So just because he was an alpha don't make him black. When he came to LA in 1966 and I was pledging alpha, we had to go meet big brother, Vice President Hubert Humphrey. Hey, white boy. But, you know, the AKAs, my mother was an AKA. She's an Ivy behind the wall. She got made in 1934. She's dead now. Been dead for how long? 23 years. Okay. Bottom line is that just because you belong to a black Greek organization don't make you black. She damn Asian. And by the way, her name is Mrs. Imhoff. Now, why do you think she's not using Imhoff? Mrs. Sarah Palin, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, Mrs. Gloria Feinstein, Mrs. Nancy Pelosi. Why she got to be Miss Harris? Because one, she don't want to be associated in everybody's mind with this Jew that she's married to. Now that's anti-Semitic, but that's what she's trying to deal with by avoiding it. Because you see, if she was known by her married name, which is Jewish, Imhoff, she'd look like she's a Middle Eastern Jew, and that'd blow all her cover. Next thing, that's one of the reasons so many people got to talking about Bernie Sanders being a socialist. That was bullshit. It's just anti-Semitism. He's a Jew. Nothing wrong with that. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. Somebody put down here, ask me what do I mean by pledging.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about that. Folk today don't even know what the hell these frats and sororities are for. They started off at the beginning of the 20th century, and what they were about was a revolutionary organizations. They were supposed to be masquerading as a Greek social organizations like the white folk, but what they were about is revolution. They were supposed to be fighting apartheid. 4 black frats, 4 black sororities. Why do you got 4? 8 altogether to divide it up in cells so you can't get everybody. The pledging used to be brutal. You know why? They wanted to see if you would spill your guts when Sheriff Bubba Jones got your ass and got to torturing you. Now, right here in Memphis, Emmett Till was 70 miles down the road. When they lynched him, they called Russell Sugarman and A.W. Willis. They were alphas. They called a cop. He went down there and he took 6 rolls of pictures because he was a photographer. And he's got a permanent exhibit in the Smithsonian now. He's dead. Got a museum down on Beale Street. Great stuff in there. And he gave 3 undeveloped rolls to Sugarman, 3 undeveloped rolls to Willis, and their job was to get those rolls out of Mississippi, get them developed at something like Walgreens in Illinois, and get them to the governor of Illinois. So Willis got caught, and he was tortured for 18 hours, but they thought he was dead, but he had stumbled off, escaped, and got away. But see, I talked to him. He said, that pledging, what they put me through crossing the burning sands, he said, that prepared me for that. He said, every time I was about to give up, I got to thinking about those sands. He said, hell no, I'm not giving up. I hung in there and something else came up. They thought I was dead. And my little skinny wrist had slipped out of the rope. So I crawled out the door, got myself together, stumbled off and took off. And I wound up getting out of there. Now they shot up and burned up about 6 cars trying to intercept Willis and Sugarman. And 4 or 5 people got shot or burnt or wounded in this process. But you see, that's what the frats were about, was to do that kind of thing. Now these folk now, all they knew about partying, and stomp the yard and stepping. By the way, I invented that. 1967, I was Dean of Pledges out in LA for the Alpha Delta chapter. And we had these frat games at Cal State LA, and they went on for 6 weeks. And we had Lakers and Celtics and everybody else who were frat members, and we'd have basketball games 212 to 196, and there'd be pros playing, right? So each of the frats put on a display. Now, we had this guy at my former high school, Dorsey High in LA, who did a different kind of thing. And from that, I said, Big Brother Bob Cole looked like King Kong with no makeup. He's like 285-pound football player. And Bob Cole swung some mean wood. We had to make a special paddle for him so he couldn't break it with one swing on somebody's ass. So me and Bob Cole said, we're going to whip and beat somebody if you don't impress. So these fools got it together, and they said, Big Brother Brown, can you come over and see what's going down? So I went over, and these folk were dressed up with black Dracula capes with gold interior hoods, some vined out tuxes, man, top hats, and some canes. And we invented the stepping, and now everybody does it, but I'm responsible for that shit. So yeah. But the bottom line is they got made hard, and every one of them made something out of life. A lot of them are dead now. But you see, that's about what pledging was about. It was supposed to be to prepare you to be part of an underground, a secret society that was trying to get black folk together. Now, he better not touch me. Oh my God, that's brutal. I'm going to tell the dean. They got a whole lot of folk that bluff their way in now. So I look at it, oh man, this is pathetic, A5 man, hey, first to first and all that, 1906, black and gold, save my soul. But too many people now forgot Invictus out of the night that covers me. Black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is blooded, but unbowed, etc., etc. It matters not how charged how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I'm the goddamn captain of my soul. And a lot of folk have forgotten that because they some punk ass fucks that are too scared to do a damn thing. See, that's what's happened because they have popularized, glorified dysfunction for 50 damn years, and everybody's so scared and stuck on being nice and, Oh man, it's about love, man. I get so sick of hearing love. Folk don't even know what the hell it is. I hear that shit in my nightmares from the 60s. Man, it's about love, man. It's love power, man. Uh, let's make love, not war, man. Oh,
Speaking
you
of the 60s,
know.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned the 60s. Stay right there because April 4th was the
So
day
punky,
my
yeah.
mom died 3 years ago, but it's also the assassination, April 4th, 1968, of Martin Luther King. And I was surprised this weekend that the media basically gave no coverage about Martin Luther King Day. As much they've been talking about Martin Luther King for years, they didn't talk about it that much. So
No, they didn't. It's
which was
passe.
surprising.
It's passe. See, because they pulled off the coup. They took over. See, ordinarily, it's the Nazis or the communists in and out. They take over the government, then they take over the press, and then they indoctrinate everybody to support the government that's come into existence. Well, 50 some years ago, the Nazis, in this case, LGBTQ plus the feminists, plus the damn lesbian bunch, plus the soy boy, beta boy nerds, they took over themselves and they insinuated themselves into the press and into entertainment. So the nerds got final revenge. They took over the government. They don't have to take the press because they already own it. See, there was a franchise. It was called Revenge of the Nerds. And I swear to you, what's happening right now looks like Revenge of the Nerds Part 27.
Yeah.
They took over. You know that parable in the Bible? The meek shall inherit the earth. Bullshit. The weak have inherited the damn United
What
States.
do you think about that, Judge? Plus the pedos.
Same thing. Part of the alliance. The Gay Manifesto in 1972. I remember that came out because I was doing work at a DC think tank and they were pushing that shit. And I remember seeing it in a DC newspaper. I think it was the Washington Post. What the hell is this shit? And under state action, clause 6, age must be eliminated as a factor in sexual consent. That's pedophile shit.
Well, it's mighty funny that BLM had that in their ageism, in their
Of
little
course,
website.
BLM, Black Lesbian Mania,
So how do
is
you feel
part of
about
it.
them now?
BLM is the enemy. See, they co opted gender and changed gender from a 1-1 correlation with sex to, oh, there are 58 fluid genders, 167. Oh, he thinks he's a woman even though he's got a swinging dick. Oh my God, you know. See, they take words. If you type into your iPhone homophobic, it's a word. If you type in heterophobia, it's underlined red. It's not a word, but it is. The heterophobia is about 200 years old. That's when homosexuals had a real phobia of straight folk who burnt them at the stakes, hung them, lynched them, jacked them up, left them dead by the roadside, beat them up, almost dead by the roadside, fired them, put them in jail, ostracized them. They had a real phobia of straight folk. Black
Okay, now
ordinary folk don't have a phobia for about gays. It's just they find it distasteful. But as long as you keep it in a goddamn bedroom like we keep our stuff, we don't get up on stage trying to hunch on somebody. Hell, we can't anymore. We can't even talk to a woman anymore. Because hashtag me too will get all over your ass. You know,
okay,
a woman told me, said, "Joe, this is ridiculous. My whole life, I've spent a lot of time going to gym, getting my hair done right, learning how to put my makeup on, dressing with taste. And now these goddamn queer ass bitches and BLM and hashtag me too have got all these men afraid to talk to us. What the hell is going on?" And then this one right here, they're trying to declare pedophilia another sexual orientation along with the rest. Yeah, it's madness. That's what that bullshit called the Equality Act is about. It's trying to make this shit a religion, a secular religion, with the state being the primary instrument of the religion.
Okay, I want you to talk about one thing. I know you got on it. So I was talking about King. Speak a little bit about the assassination or whatever. I've been to the Flop House. I
The
see. I've
FBI
seen it.
supplied the weapon. It was an XM21, which is an M14's picked for its tolerances. It was rebarreled with a stainless steel barrel by the Army Marksmanship Unit or the Marine Armory at Quantico, Virginia, where the FBI has its headquarters and they could easily access them. They made a few of them. The stainless steel barrel has a rate of rifling twist of one turn in every 11 and a quarter inches, meaning if you go down 11 and a quarter inches down the barrel, the bullet turns over one time, rotates once. In those days, the only way you could get a weapon with that kind of rifling twist was to have a special barrel made by a good gunsmith, or you had one of these provided by the Army Marksmanship Unit or the Marine Armory at Quantico, Virginia. They made up 62 of them, kept one spare barrel, and in late December in 1967 on invoice, 5 of them were supplied to the FBI. I have the serial numbers. They also supplied 5,000 rounds of special subsonic ammunition that had part of the case volume filled up with a certain kind of epoxy, which interestingly enough is found on the base of the bullet they pull out of King's body. The rate of rifling twist on the bullet they pull out of King's body is consistent with one turn in 11 and a quarter inches. Now, anything else you bought the United States of America had one turn in 10 if it was a 30-06, which also has a 308 bore, or it had one turn in 12, which was a 308 Winchester, also known as a 7.62 NATO. The 760 Game Master, which is what Ray was told to go back and get after he bought a bolt action 243 Remington 700. The Remington 760 Game Master, along with the 870 pump 12 gauge shotgun, was standard issue to the FBI. A number of the police officers I interviewed who were around and about right after the shooting said there were many FBI agents carrying either 870 Remington shotguns or 760 Remington Game Master pump rifles. So one of them sneaking the rifle into the flop house is not going to be suspicious because there are a bunch of them out in the open. And Captain Tommy Smith, who retired, is head of homicide for the Memphis Police Department, told me before he died, we got an affidavit from him, says that they had been in the flop house for an hour and a half, going in and out the hallway to the street, no gun. After an hour and a half, all of a sudden there's this gun laid right across the hallway, wrapped up in a blanket, a prison blanket, with a radio with Ray's name engraved on a brass plaque screwed to it, 3 cans left over from a 6-pack, some shaving stuff, toothbrush, and some underwear. And they said they know that was bogus because they know where Ray was. He wasn't even in Memphis on the day in question. This ain't fake. Subsonic ammunition. That's what they got 5,000 rounds of. Now, late April, Bobby Kennedy had, as U.S. Attorney General, who was in charge nominally of the FBI, which is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is under the Justice Department, ordered that they return these 5 rifles because the Defense Department needed them for the NOM. This is 1968. Shit's getting heavy over there. So the FBI was forced to do an inventory, and the FBI, guess what, claimed they lost one of these 5 experimental sniper rifles. They could only return 4, not 5. They gave the serial numbers on the inventory, the ones that they returned. The one that's missing, that is listed in the invoice in December 67, is the murder weapon.
Okay, gotcha. Now,
Yeah,
I
it was
want.
by the way, it's 2-man hit team, and the shot was fired from the fire station. The reason there's a confusion about the flop house or the bushes is because when you look over at the flop house bathroom window, the bushes are right under it. Couldn't have been at the bushes because there's a 7-hour delay from when King was supposed to leave. And you could walk down Main Street on a day And if anybody was in those bushes with a rifle, they would have been seen. And the other reason people thinks it was there is because the sound of the gunshot reflected off of the face of the Lorraine Motel and it cast over there. It was a subsonic bullet, so the sound got there before the bullet did. Ordinarily, with a rifle, the bullet gets there before the sound gets there because the bullet's going twice the speed of sound. In this case, it was going less than the speed of sound, so you heard the boom and then you heard the thump. That's what several witnesses said who were out there when he got hit. And then Billy Kyle's like Dick Gregory interviewed him, said, "Why'd you jump back in the door?" "I didn't want to get shot." "Well, how'd you know somebody's going to shoot him?"
Okay, now let me see.
Why did it happen in Memphis?
Yeah.
Memphis did not have a strong, united activist community at that time. It did not. The late Judge Otis Higgs, good friend of mine, and I were talking about this on several occasions. He was NAACP's lawyer at the time. He said right before King came back, he said the NAACP got so hot and hostile that he jumped under the desk with this meeting he was leaving because the Negroes had pulled pistols on himself. There was a faction led by the late Ben Hooks, whose white masters had told them not to let King come back in. Some of the youth said they didn't need King, and then the majority wanted to say we need King. So King wound up coming back. He was supposed to be integrating the flagship hotel for Holiday Inn, which was known as the Rivermont. He didn't even want to go to the Lorraine Motel. The Lorraine Motel was a whole house. It was an hourly rate hotel on the hoe track. That's where the pimps and the hoes did their business. You know, so what, $1.25 per hour, $2 for 2 hours.
Wow.
And it was nasty. And by the way, it was my idea to make it a civil rights museum. Me and Walter Bailey, no relationship to the Walter Bailey who was a former county commissioner for Memphis and Shelby County, who was related to DeArmey Bailey, and DeArmey had not shit to do with the founding. It was me, Randy Wade, Chuck Scruggs, Walter Bailey, not related to the Bailey's attorneys. We met down at Mr. Bobo's place on Thomas Boulevard for several weeks. Old man Bailey, Walter Bailey, who owned the Lorraine Motel, wanted to sell it so they could do some development. I said, look, man, a lot of stuff went on. Why don't we turn this into a museum? Okay, fine. Great idea. We brought in attorney A.W. Willis, the heroic one I just told you that got caught and tortured, right? He said, I'll get the paperwork together. So A.W. Willis got all of the paperwork signed. So A.W. brought it down. We're down at Mr. Bobo's place. We're looking at the thing, going through all of this. Man, it looks good. Boxed it back up. Let's mail it. What happened that very damn evening, he collapsed. He died 4 days later. He had a super virulent cancer, pancreatic cancer. So his office called around to get somebody to mail this carton with all of the signed paperwork. So they got DeArmey's office. So DeArmey wrote a new cover letter, and it came back to him, and the brass plaque is a lie. It says he's the founder. He didn't do shit except drop it in a goddamn mailbox.
Oh, yeah, okay. And let me say something to you. I just think about something that just came in my head because we were talking about shootings. There's been a lot of...
And why Memphis, ask the lady's question, Memphis is the first degree murder capital of America. If she's from Memphis, ask her about old man Gridley. She looks too young to have gone to Gridley's barbecue. Best ribs in America. They used to keep cooking 36 hours and then smoke them for 24 more. Every waiter worked in the place had been a head waiter at somebody's 5-star restaurant. Linen, candlelight shit, ice cold beer, excellent service. Well, they would not take credit cards, but they would take cash and checks, even out of town checks with no ID. They stayed open until 2 o'clock every night. but they cut the cash register off at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, I knew the maitre d' at the time, and he told me some stuff was funny. So about 3 weeks later, Wednesday on I-55, just south of Shelby Drive, the lady that asked that question is from Memphis. She knows where that is. Old man Gridley turned up. Yeah, they had a crime underbelly thing. Old man Gridley turned up dead in a one-car wreck with no witnesses about 3:30 something a.m. in the morning. That's Wednesday. Thursday, his general manager died in a one-car wreck, quarter of a mile away from the same location, same time, no witnesses. Friday, his chief accountant died at the same location, 3:30 in the morning, no witnesses,
Is
in
it
a
on Kirby
one-car
Road?
wreck on I-55.
Is it Kirby Road?
Horrible coincidence, you think?
Kirby Road?
No, all right, at Shelby Drive going south on I-55.
Okay. All right.
Now, just think about it. And then also think about the fact that I won't get into it right now. There was a certain assistant prosecutor in my courtroom that fixed a murder case. He framed the innocent man. Fortunately, it was a mistrial. Something stank to high heavens about it. I retired and I was working with the police legal advisor in homicide, and we dug up or got presented to us a video with the audio of the assistant DA in my courtroom plotting with his mother to frame this man. And the mother's friend girl is talking to mama about how she killed her husband she was estranged from. Okay, that resulted in a tentative indictment for murder in the first degree as an accessory after the fact. The informant said, "Don't you want to see the other tapes?" Well, there were 4 other tapes where mama and the DA that was in my courtroom were plotting with these women to kill their husbands. They killed their husbands. So everybody is now subject to a first degree murder charge, except my prosecutor, former prosecutor, and his mama are looking at 5 first degree murder cases. And since they are premeditated and deliberate, planned murders, 3 of them by a means that puts you in the death penalty category. 2 p.m., we're supposed to go in front of the grand jury. High noon, the elected DA found out about it, ran down and got the grand jury foreman to delay things off of what he was told was an emergency, and they started destroying all the evidence. That's why Memphis is first degree capital, murder capital of America. And I ain't talking about street crime.
Okay, speaking of stuff going on lately, there's been a lot of shootings. You had the thing in Colorado, then you had the Capitol was night last week.
Copycat. Got the Democratic Party and mainstream media, social media, making heroes out of all these little vanilla cupcakes that have been having all these spring break adventures and burning stuff down and all this other stuff. So, well, it's legit now. Okay, I'm used to it. I'm acclimated. Let's go take it to the damn streets. And you notice that these folk aren't trying to kill each other. This go around. See, the dynamic on the other ones, they hate themselves so bad they want to take themselves out, but they're going to take somebody with them for company. So they go shoot up a place and then pop, they do themselves in. Well, these people are surrendering. Like, what did I do? You're just going to tap me on the wrist. You've done everybody else that way. What's the big deal?
A lot of stuff at the Capitol. And this thing on Friday claimed the guy came out with a knife and stuff. And I don't even think it makes sense. I think it's another operation they're trying to do, but whatever the case may be. They tried to say he was a Nation of Islam guy. Then I said, no, he's not. This guy got braids. And no. And then they tried to say he's from Indiana. But I'm just looking at it like, I mean, this is part of their draconian stuff to try to get these laws passed by these events. That's why they make so much. And then we just go, let's just go off him. We go to Atlanta massage parlor. They say it's about Asians, but this guy killed 2 white people. And I think killed some black people too in Atlanta. Massage parlor. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, all this stuff going on with
You know,
this guy had a knife. He didn't even have a gun. They're talking about at the Capitol.
this has gone on too far. All of these rapid accelerating fast assault cars with automatic transmissions must be banned. Too many have been killed or injured. It's time for background and psychological checks, waiting periods, and private sales of these fast accelerating automatic transmission cars must be banned.
You know, it just looked like every time you look around,
Didn't
they
it
just
sound like some bullshit?
yeah.
What? Well, you see, just if you want to figure out what bullshit is, take the topic out and put another one in there and see how it sounds.
Okay, yeah.
They killed about 300 or 400 times as many people in car wrecks per year than get murdered. All right.
Okay.
The most popular method of murder is a butcher knife. The second most is a screwdriver, and the third most is a claw hammer. Guns are way down the list. 3 times many people killed by claw hammers. By the way, a typical claw hammer is a utilitarian tool that much resembles a medieval war hammer. So you saw what the fools did in London 2 years ago, where they wanted to register all kitchen knives because they had so many knife murders in London. His Lordship, the Lord Mayor of London, an Indian, Hindu, was saying, we must do something about licensing these dangerous kitchen utensils that have been used to commit so many horrendous murders in this glorious historical city of London. It cannot go on.
Yeah. I just look at it like they're trying to
And
pass
look at here.
HR
The next
127,
thing, what
HR
are they going to ban
1446.
rocks? They must break all rocks into gravel because, my God, think of all the people that got clubbed to death in antiquity with rocks during the Stone Age. And even if we bust them into gravel, oh my God, we have to ban sand because in the military, they teach you a nice weapon is to get some wet sand, stuff it into a boot sock, tie a knock in it, and bam, you got a nice mace. So we got to ban sand too, gravel too, rocks, kitchen utensils. Oh my God, automobiles, all of these incompetent people who can't drive worth a damn being turned loose with 4,000-pound vehicles that can go 100 miles an hour with automatic transmissions, and they're just killing indiscriminately, and it's carnage on the highways every day in the United States.
Hey, I got a good question for you. This happened last month. It was like a joke, but I know you probably heard of your Grammy thing with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion jumping on each other and stuff like that. So when you heard about that, what was your thoughts?
I used to represent a lot of hoes and pimps. Why do I want to be interested in a hoe that made her pimp big bucks and used to drug her tricks so she could rob them? Pimps are bad. Hoes are just as bad. They crazy. They hate themselves. So
Well,
why
I'm
do I
looking at
want to
it.
listen to? I bet her pimp made some big money off of her ass because she doesn't look kind of good. With that booty, she'd probably sell a whole lot. She's not from the United States, so I guess she got all kinds of exotic, hey babe, beep beep,
Well, I'm looking
hey
at it like
daddy,
this. We
hey
got a
daddy.
basketball player who just got lost his job at ESPN for showing pictures on Instagram when he was with strippers and stuff. And then you got Deshaun Watson, the football player in Houston, Texas. They say 22 women have filed a lawsuit against him. So I'm like, well, if he was with a man, they wouldn't have cared. But now you with a woman, they say, oh, we're gonna try you for sexism or whatever. So they're going after the man crisis.
I wonder how many boys Bathhouse Berry was with.
Speaking of Bathhouse Berry, I'm glad you mentioned him because come to think about it, Hunter Biden's in the news again, and we talked about Hunter Biden last year. Now it's all coming to the forefront. But a lot of things with this anti-Asian hate is, guess what? There's a boycott going on in China of H&M and other things for forced human labor, sex trafficking. That's where that stop Asian hate thing is really coming from on the surface. And they're trying to use it as a cover for what's going on. But nevertheless, Mr. Berry and Mr. Biden and Hunter Biden and the Chinese spy had a little deal going on.
Yeah, $100 million apiece for backing the U.S. Navy off of patrolling. See, every year they have Red Flag and Top Gun. I don't know about this last time, but for 5 years before that, the Indian Air Force beat the shit out of the U.S. Air Force and Navy. They have a very advanced jet fighter that is also used by the People's Republic of China. It's a joint venture. The latest iteration is a stealth fighter. They are working up toward about 1,200 of them. The U.S. has slightly less than 80 operational F-22s. The production line has been cut down or cut off since the middle of the Obama administration. So we've got an F-35 that's supposed to be a stealth fighter. The problem is once the bombs drop, attack is made, it's not stealth. And once it gets in visual range, our 40-year-old F-16s whip the shit out of them every time they get a simulated combat and Red Flag, training, Top Gun, whatever it is. So we have the most expensive item ever for an airplane in terms of the big program going, and it doesn't seem to be worth shit as a dogfighter. Meanwhile, the Indian Air Force aircraft is a hellified, cut it up, knife fighting airplane. The F-22 is too, but we've got 80 of them, less than 80. The Chinese have, it seems like they're going to make 3,500. We don't have a production line. And the computer system of the F-35 got compromised about 15 years ago by supposedly a private Chinese individual who hacked into it. Now, what was Trump doing when he was imposing these economic sanctions on China? Well, China has 78+% of the world's manufacturing capacity. That means you have to sell stuff. So since the U.S. is China's biggest market, if you don't believe it, go look in your kitchen drawer and see if you can find something that doesn't say made in China. iPhone. If you order one and you ask for that little factor to track it from Apple, you'll find it stops inside of mainland China before it leaves the continent because it's made in China. That means they have the technology. Your DVDs and Blu-rays, that's not American, that's Chinese technology. Now, what he was saying is we know, thanks to some bullshit that some of my predecessors have done, if you decided to invade Taiwan like you have been threatening to do, I know I've gotten a memo from the Navy that says the only damn thing I can do is figure out how to save face. I know if there was a shoot 'em up involving the invasion of Taiwan in the Air Force would be shot down, our Air Force, in 48 hours. Congrats on becoming big leagues. But we can't have that, so you lose the market. I'm going to make you feel what it feels like and let your people squawk so you can get a graceful, saving face incident. It's about the free market. Now, Jackass,
girl, I read an article about Taiwan
Jackass and Son have revamped this. We're not going to have this, because your asses took that $100 million bribe. This on tape. That's what's on that Hunter Biden laptop that you don't hear about. It's in Europe. CCP releases it. But remember, since February 2000, that laptop has been in front of a grand jury, and you can't cut off a grand jury once they get going. They do their thing. Now, what I'm predicting, two things. Biden is going to play like he's senile. I don't think he has to play too hard. And you see mainstream media and social media, they're trying to imply that he's getting a little nuts, which he already is. So he will have a save face medical reason for retiring. When he retires, Mrs. Imhoff will become president under operation of the 20th Amendment. Nancy Pelosi will become vice president of the United States. Old heifer and young heifer. Old cow, young cow. And Biden will be able to get historical significance as the person that gracefully and graciously resigned so the first woman could be president of the United States. And come Queen Imhoff is going to pardon him and his son. What they did is on that tape where he says, let me get this straight, 10% for me, 10% for Joe, 10% for Hunter. And he's just been talking about $1 billion cash thing to that firm that Hunter's with. That's $100 million apiece as a bribe to back the Navy down. That's treason. Article 2, Section 4, United States Constitution. The president and vice president, upon conviction, impeachment and conviction, can be removed from office for 1, bribery, 2, treason, and 3, high crimes and or misdemeanors in office. So the other thing is, remember I told you about be careful what the hell you ask for, you just might get it. These snake fools in the Democratic Party wanted to indict Trump, not indict him, impeach him, and submit the articles of impeachment for what he did allegedly as president, which had nothing but First Amendment writ all over it, after he left the office. I told you, I said, that sets a precedent. What these idiots aren't even getting is that sets them up so somebody can impeach Biden for what he did as a vice president.
Yep. It's
So
interesting.
be careful what the hell you ask for. You just might get it.
I got a couple more questions to ask you. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to this George Floyd trial. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'll wait till they're through. I don't hear the evidence. If I don't hear the evidence, I don't have an opinion until they get through. It looks like the judge is keeping control of the trial, unlike that charade with Dr. Cosby, where that clown let the courtroom get out of control. He let those women run around topless out in front of the courthouse, which he has control over. He didn't do a damn thing about it, while his jury is on the floor above, hanging out the windows, watching it bouncing titties with guilty written all over it. And he didn't control who his jurors talked to on the phone while they were sequestered. And one of them got recorded talking about the deal with his brother in the press on conviction. Don't forget, and then the judge was supposed to have 90 days in which he had his synopsis posted. He took 9 months instead of 90 days so Mr. Cosby could stay in, Dr. Cosby could stay in there longer. Considering the offense and his age, he should have been allowed to remain on his bond for appeal. That was mob justice. It was an embarrassment and a disgrace to American justice to see that. It was farcical. At least this character is keeping control of what goes on.
Okay, the other
And I
thing is,
understand he has a reputation for doing that. So there are some decent judges. Let's see what happens. I'm also very embarrassed by that Texas incident where that Bigfoot black female judge with some shorts on under her robe, swishing around when she jumped off the bench in her flip flops, for goodness sakes, to go hug that female cop after she was convicted and give her Bible. Oh man, that was just bad.
some judge. Come think about it.
That was
Actually,
so
speaking
bad.
of that, I was you were we would have. Oh yeah, yesterday was Easter. Yeah, Easter, and
Estra,
Easter. Yes, which is fertility,
Eostre. That was
which
the
means
Norse goddess of fertility. Same
yeah,
one as Astarte. Venus and Aphrodite and
I,
Isis. You ever wonder where the bunny comes in?
fucking like rabbits.
There you go. Fertility symbol. You know what the eggs are about?
Yeah.
The old pagan thing is if you wanted an excuse to run around on your spouse or hook up with somebody, the person put their mark on the eggs and they laid a trail of eggs and you followed them off into the bushes and you played rabbit. See, the old folks, the pagans, they wouldn't stop celebrating, so the Christian church just took over the holiday. They co-opted it like gay folk have done with gender.
Well, I got something to say here about. Now I realized that
I like the rabbit.
I was reading something on Twitter last month, and the BLM women were saying that they're gonna still support their community, even though their community has been taking jabs at them and making them feel
Oh,
like
that's some
right
bullshit,
wing
artists. Them heifers
politicians
connected
attacking them.
$97 million that they've been using to finance all of this street bullshit for a year and a half. These heifers are paying themselves $250,000 a piece. They stole some black folks' ideas up there in Ferguson, damn it. They pimped them. 1/3 of the money is going to BLM, those four, and financing what's been going on out in the streets. Hello, Miss Marshall. I see you flashing up there with your pretty self. Very good. And then I like looking at pretty women. God, make me feel good. It makes me feel all worthwhile, you know.
Hey
Oh,
man, ain't
women
nothing
and
wrong with
children
that,
in
man.
goddamn lifeboats. You know, yeah. You know, let me take on Jaws to make sure they get away. Anyway, where was I?
Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah. So the other group that gets 1/3 is Act Blue, which is a Democratic Party front organization, and they make no bones about it. That 1/3 goes to LGBTQIA plus. So what did the old "what we believe" sign say until we started jumping them so bad about it? We are for the destruction of the traditional nuclear family. Third from the bottom, we are a queer affirming organization. Somewhere in the middle of that, you know, it's halfway down when that shit started.
Yeah.
It made it sound good up front. People don't like to read, so they didn't read past the first part. But anyway, then what did they have? The destruction of cisgender privilege in the family. In other words, the position of fathers. So it's a sick organization for a sick purpose. And if you want to get into some initials, may I suggest BFM, Bravo Foxtrot Mike. Black
Okay.
folk matter. Black families matter. Black fathers matter. Black females matter. Black finance matter. Black firearms matter. You can run down the F list a long, long time. So that's another pretty one who talked about their holidays are pagan. Anyway, yeah, man, you got some fine ones coming in on here. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm too old, but damn, I like to look. Shit, what the hell? That's why they have all these statues in the museums. You walk, oh yeah, that's
Oh,
interesting.
that's funny.
I like that one.
But look, I was gonna say this. So like I said, Judge, I always say that black folk, we gotta get this thing together, get liberated somehow, because we've been as a joke lately, like BLM been messing around. Now I will say what BLM and Antifa did do. A lot of police officers in Portland and these other places are quitting because they say they just can't handle it no more with all the anarchy going on.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. St. Louis, they took over the jail last night. So the inmates ain't good.
Oh
I
God,
mean,
where did they get the guns? Oh, there's nobody to blame. Boom.
but they say you're not too old, man, so that's good.
Oh, I like that one. That's pretty right there. Anyway, I ain't gonna
You're not
blame
too old, man. You're not too
I
old.
like that one too. Yes, thank you, lady. You know,
They say
I'm
you're not
getting
too old.
ready for what's about to happen. I've been out jogging. I've lost 25 pounds in the last month and a half. I'm getting
So,
back where I was, you know.
well, I just gotta say we gotta watch these sides so distraction right now because they right now while me and you talking, there's somebody sitting in Congress right now with a bill trying to pass another gun law in there. So we gotta watch
I
these sides.
know, Jack punk ass fucks,
But
unmanly punk ass fucks.
but this is my thing. When you talk about gun control, you see Second Amendment say the right to bear arms, but it really do to protect you from a government tyranny.
That's
That's
right. It's a check and balance. You got state versus federal, you got legislative, judicial, executive. So what you also have is the people. See, we invented guerrilla warfare. We had the first revolution. And everybody in the world studies the original American Revolution, except us. There ain't number white supremacists. They were slave owners. Yeah, but everybody in the world studies the American Revolution to see how it works. What we did is called now asymmetric warfare. What the Second Amendment does is guarantee that the citizens have sufficient armaments to conduct an asymmetric war against any tyranny that may seek to impose itself. How long we been in Afghanistan? 21 goddamn years.
with no end in
20
sight.
years. How long did we still really didn't subdue Iraq. We beat the shit out of the military. But back in 1949, Mao posed his gambit. He said, revolutionary societies might consider intentionally losing a war, but storing a lot of their military hardware, weaponry, and explosives so that they can use it for an extended guerrilla war, which the United States and the West cannot do anything. Well, ain't no shame being that, Miss Celador. That's okay. Shit happens. Trying to get free, but at least he was a warrior. That's cool. Now, uh,
Well,
see where
oh
that goes? We
yeah.
have all these fools talking about defund the police because the police have been killing black people, but you want to disarm black people and come up with some new police so they can police the black folk who got jacked around by the original police, but these folk are LGBTQ operatives so they can put your straight ass in a sling so you can't do a damn thing. And you want to trust some police department to make your ass safe when you running around hollering about they're killing you. Does that make
Well,
sense?
I got one more
You
thing to
got to
ask.
be
Well,
a damn fool.
I got one more thing to ask you, and well, not ask you, but I know you've been on a little bit on the grind lately. You say you might run for mayor of Memphis. Is
Oh,
that
I
right?
am going to run for mayor 2023. I may
Okay.
not win, but maybe I will. I understand that the new voting machines are going to be tested 3 times before then. And the machines, by the way, this goes to Associated Press as a snow election fraud. Well, 2004, the Justice Department under Bush said the voting machines in Shelby County were corrupted. 2006, they said they were corrupted. 2008, not only were they corrupted, this was under the Obama administration, they put up funds seized from drug raids to replace every damn machine. So forth. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, etc. The county refused to buy the machines because 3 black county commissioners were bought off assholes, corrupted. They varied because there were term limits, so it was quite a few in that group of 3, gang of 3. And finally, they got threatened with a lawsuit, so they bought the machines. But guess what? They had secretly stored the machines in a warehouse for the last 4 election cycles, including the one we just got through with, and have not used the new ones. What time is that?
You said defund single
What is
mothers.
this? Defund single mothers.
You know, in
That's a
California,
lady said that.
you know, in California, they're actually starting this thing with universal basic income to about 120 families, perhaps. I guess they, I guess they saying that if you lost your job, the automation something they want you to have universal basic income.
Well,
Um, and another guy said, "Go for it. You'll do well for the
will
city."
for that city. I'm reading them. They're showing up on my screen. Hey, Judge, Queen D. Yeah, I like it, ma'am. You know what?
They want you
See,
to
there's
run.
danger in that. The
They want some
parable for
manhood.
those who have a biblical bent. What is it? You can feed a man a fish, or you can teach him to fish so he can feed himself. If you get the person too used to being fed, he thinks of it as an entitlement, and he has no incentive to go feed himself, because what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. So when you make it necessary for somebody to get their heads together, they get them together. Now, I'm old enough to realize that I have looked at over the last 50 some years, I've seen black folk slide downhill. And it started when they started predicating how much you got as a welfare check on how many babies you had. Ordinarily, people had babies commensurate with the amount that they could afford to spend on children. Then they started having children to be able to afford to take care of themselves. So that got really crazy. They cut that back, so a lot of states have a limit on how much you can get, but it's too late. It's become part of the culture. As it has become part of the culture, it has become an entitlement. And it's an entitlement to a condition of poverty. It's slavery. Because what the folk don't realize is the only difference between what that sets up in a slave plantation is that the Negroes on the plantation have no cotton to pick right now. They're idle. And idle minds mischief make. And they get up to all kinds of dysfunctional mischief. They don't have anything to do, no purpose, no cause, no motivation. And you leave it so the women get the money and they dole it out to the men. So they're supposed to be getting it to feed these babies, but they're paying it to the latest somebody that's simping off of them, which destroys masculinity. That means there's nobody to take these children that you got at home and put something in their heads. That means nobody's protecting your neighborhood, so you can't go walk next door without somebody trying to snatch your panties. That means you are afraid to go from home unless you can afford a security system, because you might come back and all your stuff is gone. Somebody might break in on you. It isn't safe to go out to your car in the driveway. That's not the way people ought to live. That's a jungle. And you just elected a jackass who said Negroes are animals. They turn the streets into jungles, so I'm going to put them in zoos. That's Biden. He said that in 1972. I heard him live. He was on a stage with George Wallace, John B. Stennis, Byrd, Faubus, Strom Thurmond, all of the old Southern racists. They were calling him the last yellow dog Dixiecrat. Newest, rather. So,
well,
we voted him in. So you got the old time plantation owner who said, I'm from Delaware. It was a slave holding state. So being from Delaware, I know how the Negro thinks.
well, I got something to say, Judge. I will say one thing. Since a lot of us stay at home, I think Biden wants his new class to be this illegal immigrant class coming across the border. That's his new class of people that he
Well,
wants.
it may be, but
Uh,
under the Constitution, Article 1, representation in the House is determined by an apportionment based on the census. So that's why look, I've had 5 census periods as an adult. This is the first one where I was not asked, was I a citizen? They're racist. They're asking about whether you are a citizen. How can they do that? damn, they've always done it. I asked my parents before they died about this. They said, yeah, as long as we can remember, they ask you, were you a citizen? And how was your parent? Were your parents natural born? Were they naturalized? So what the hell? That was a setup. I knew something was wrong then. I said, oh man, these folk are putting something in. There's no way this ought to get passed because, oh wow, the judge who rules him at 38 years old, he wasn't around to listen to this shit because he was 28 when they did this last. And he doesn't remember because his mommy answered for him. Okay, so
Oh,
what's
then
happening? If they
she
want
said
to
that.
get the Mexicans in, but no, they ordinarily can't get them to vote. At first, they were just trying to get them counted so California, Illinois, and New York could pick up extra representatives without those people being able to vote for them. But now, since they are trying to get in place this stuff that you don't have to show ID. You can register remotely. Who's to say you're not registering an illegal alien who is going to show gratitude to the people that got him in? And somebody just flashed up here. AOC's talking bullshit. Cortez talking bullshit about giving illegals reparations and black folk have none. Bullshit.
Hey, man, I got.
Hell goddamn no, you ignorant heifer. What the devil is wrong with you, you jackass? Oh, I forgot she's a jackass. That's what that thing is for the Democratic Party, isn't it? It's a jackass. It's a donkey. Isn't that a jackass? Yeah, last I checked. Can you
Hey,
imagine
Judge.
being in a political party
Hey,
these
Judge.
days
You
where the
got women.
emblem, the mascot is a
You got.
jackass?
You got a lot of women in the chat dropping some things. This woman, Time Q selling to us, said those welfare entitlements wouldn't have worked so well without the black woman's consent. That's the bad part.
She's a pretty looking woman too. I like that. Wisdom. Thank you, my lady.
Well,
Much
you
appreciated.
know, we like, well, you know, like I said, there's a lot of women out there with great intentions and great minds. I was with
Yeah,
one
they
young.
are. But we don't get to hear them. We hear bitches and hoes like amateur porn queen slut Kim Kardashian. What the hell she got to do with black folk other than she likes to stick them? Ray J, Brandy's brother. That's how the family made her money watching Ray J fuck Kim. It was lousy. The heifer couldn't even fuck. She looked like just laying there like she did. Oh, you're gonna come like this when you see me do this with Ray J. Oh God, please. That's so lame. Her ass was so flabby with so much cellulite and cottage cheese. It was disgusting. And you can see it for $4.95 on Blu-ray. You can see it on Xfinity, Comcast, Dish TV, Direct TV, everything under adult TV. That's how the Kardashians make their money, watching 19-year-old Kim fuck Brandy's brother Ray J. And then you got super slut that made her pimp a lot of money. Cardi B, a street walking hoe trying to be a spokesman for black folk. She ain't even born here. God damn. Where is she from?
Well,
Oh,
with
I mean,
I know
are we stuck on stupid? And then all of
Dominican
the,
Republic. Dominican
then
Republic.
all of the, excuse me, then all of the rap stars, they got the microphone and go, God damn, man. Look like you sucking on a dick, dude. Get that microphone out your mouth. No wonder you sound like that and talk that stupid shit. Man, these dudes, and they sound, get some bass in their goddamn voice.
I got one
You
more
know?
thing to ask you. What do you think about that? What do you think about that side out for that Meghan Markle Harry crap from last month? Was it? Yeah.
Oprah pimped her some more bitches. Look, let me tell you what's going on. This so goddamn dumbass. No, they did not offer her son His Royal Highness as a title. Do you know why? In 1917, King George V, because Queen Victoria had done the fucky with Albert so much, had 11 children that survived and all kinds of his and her royal highnesses all over Europe. He issued the decree that from henceforth You cannot use HRH, His or Her Royal Highness, until your grandfather became the monarch. So you've got Queen Elizabeth, who's 96 years old. Her husband is Philip, who's not doing well. Their child is King Charles, who did the fucky fucky with Prince Diana. And they had Harry, who is the father of Meghan's child. When Charles becomes king, which shouldn't be too long, because his daddy is 98 damn years old and his mama, the queen's 96. He is 72, 71. So he won't be the king that long. So Meghan's child will become His Royal Highness. Now, there's another little catch. He's also an American citizen because he popped out of mama's pussy, who is an American citizen's pussy. When he turns 18, if he chooses to, he can accept the title of His Royal Highness. That's his election. You cannot renounce a child's citizenship. He's got dual citizenship. Meghan is a U.S. citizen. Remember, she's talking bullshit about running for president. Well, the Constitution forbids an American from being ennobled, made royalty, or Sir a Knight. You can get an honorary knighthood, but not official until you renounce your citizenship. And Heifer Girl ain't about to renounce her American citizenship. See, that's the catch. So she let Oprah pimp her dumb ass into saying that in public. They won't even give me my HRH. Of course, you can't get it, Heifer, because you're an American citizen. If you renounced it and you stuck with Harry's ass now, because you can't come back home, go for it. But you're not. So shut the fuck up. Meanwhile, Kitty, you can't renounce that. And when granddaddy becomes king, which is inevitable because he's 72 and great grandmama is 96 years old. Get the picture?
Yeah.
And then see, Harry's got one older brother who's in line for being a king. But Queen Elizabeth's great uncle, her father's brother, was king of England in the 30s, and he abdicated so he could marry a divorced American woman. So what happens is if Harry's brother fucks up, which he might do, then Harry becomes His Royal Highness King of England, and Meghan's little pickaninny becomes heir to the throne of England, which means there's somebody identified as Black American snuck some twat up under the throne, and the now still Black American, because he's 1/4 Black.
Well, that's got
With
interest.
American connections, becomes potentially His Royal Highness King of England. All rise, God save the King. Can you see how that shit would read? And it's not bitches jeopardizing it going on Oprah. Because Oprah said, you must come on and express yourself. You must extirpate your anxieties. And then, wait a minute, wait. This got me. We listened to the tape during my show. And oh my God, Oprah, it was so horrible. The burdens of being a royal, burdens were just so awful. I had no support and I almost committed suicide. Oh my God. Now you hood ras half breed. Look at here. They got a 96-year-old woman does this every goddamn day. And your 40-year-old ass can't handle it. What the hell is wrong with you? And you've been pimping your whole damn life being a C-grade actress. And all you got to do is, oh, we're so happy that you have opened this new dog shelter in Leeds. It's so responsible. Her Royal Highness sends her congratulations and deep felt love that you have done so much to take these poor neglected animals into your hearts. Oh, we are here, Harry and I, to, oh my God, it's so wonderful that you have opened this hospital for these children who have suffered these horrible diseases. It's just so noble, you know? I mean, one is as one does. And oh my God, we're just so proud of you. This bitch can't handle that shit. What is wrong with her ass? Damn. And she becomes one of the richest heifers on the planet. What is the matter? And you saw how her half sisters were trying to rank her ass out. Yeah, girl, you should have seen this one dude she had this thing with. She ain't got over him yet. She just after that man's money. God.
Well,
No.
with Judge, I can
Clean
tell you
their
how.
act up. I mean,
Hey, Judge.
look. Let me run this down. The Kennedy family was trying to marry somebody into the White House. Roosevelt was trying to marry somebody into the White House. Richard Tricky Nixon tried to marry his ugly ass daughter into the not White House, into the monarchy. All right. Here you go. We even got Ronald Reagan trying to marry that ugly ass daughter of his into the royal family. But who gets our ass in there? The only goddamn American got up in there was this half-breed hood rat. And she trying to throw it out. What is wrong with her? You fucking somebody white anyway, you getting white dick. But goddamn it, you don't go for it, go big time. What is the matter with you? You don't love your, oh, I forgot. Hood rat thinking, I want the money. You about to become one of the richest women in the whole fucking world, and all you gotta do is give up some pussy. Goddamn, you listening to Cardi B walk them cold streets with a bass out giving up pussy for a little jump change? What's the matter with you? And your son is in line to become king of fucking England. What is the matter with your dumb ass? Come on.
Well,
and you ain't the first one. Queen Charlotte was married to King George III. He was the one that was the monarch, king of England, when the racist colonies got away from there after the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and invented guerrilla warfare. A lot of the English talk about it, but the Americans don't. In history, one of the reasons that the Southern colonists had for ditching England was because they didn't want somebody so closely akin to their slaves being Queen of England. And since King George III had some mental health issues, the Queen often was the one that was calling the shots. You see a Virginia planter with George Thomas, it's just a thing here. We got to do something about this here. We just can't have our identification with the crown of England no more. They got a nigger in there, this queen, she called him. I just can't sleep at night, Charlie. I just can't sleep. Swear to God, just can't sleep. I know I don't want to speak against the king, but enough is enough. We just, what is it? What when we say taxation without a representation here? Something is going wrong. We just got to rebel, Tommy. We just got to rebel here. Well, see that same man? That's what's going on. See, what happened is the king was going broke ass. So one of his nobles, a distant cousin, had gone into Africa and brought back a black wife. So they had offspring. So King George married her to get the money. Simple. So it ain't nothing new, but it's 21st century, and that was 240 years ago. So, wow, we whoop-de-doo. You half-breed hood rat. You got a chance to have a son who will wind up next in line for the throne of England.
Gavin.
Damn, man. What's up? You about one ignorant ghetto hood rat.
Well, I just want to say this, Judge. This has been another adventure. It's always good to have you on, but people in the chat, shout out your contact information, Twitter,
You can
follow.
find me on Twitter at Judge Joe Brown TV, and I do not have a blue check. I have not been recognized. They haven't given me my particulars in proper respect. I'm not possessed of the title. Or you can find me on Parler and give me my red P after 15 minutes. I didn't even have to ask. But, it is what it is. And Valerie Denise, you can find me there on Fridays between 4 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you get in before 6 p.m., we stay on for another hour before they shut us down and we chat. And that is 929-477-1167. Put a 1 in front of it. 1-929-477-1167. You always graciously join us and give us benefit of your research, sir. So I will say that even though I've been deprived of my proper title on Twitter, I have to say this. If you tweet on Twitter, does that make you a twit?
Ask Judge what you thought about Michael Rappaport snitching on Durant. You might the basketball player. The guy showed the messages that he had in his DM or something. To me, it's just a punk
Well,
move.
LA Times carried the transcript of Kobe Bryant's interrogation by the Colorado police on that rape thing. He tried to snitch on Shaq. He was trying to give him. The detective said, "Are you talking about your teammate Shaquille O'Neal?" He said, "Well, yeah, Shaq." He said, "Well, did any of this happen in Colorado?" "I don't know." "Well, we're not interested." He tried to snitch, so I mean, it's typical with NBA players. It seems not all of them. Some of them
Judge,
are just like the hood rats I dealt with as clients and as defendants. And it always used to get me. Big bad OGMF sit up in my courtroom. Yeah, man, I'm down with the colors, man. It's all about, they tried to run this on me, man, but I'm with the posse, man. And then you go back and you look in chambers with defense counsel in the state at the tape of the confession. This sucker's going, "I don't want no lies, man. It's for my mama. Y'all let me talk about mama. I tell you anything I all want." Sir, you need an attorney. Your mama can't be present, but you can have a lawyer. "I don't want no lawyer. You just let me talk about mama. I tell you anything you want." Man, it wasn't me who was stomping little dog, man. And shine like, man, paint, man, that man, they was in it, man. Y'all, man, please let me talk to my mama, man. Punk MF. And I go out and say, the court is going to deny the motion to suppress. We have looked at the tape. It looks like the police advised him 7 times that he needed an attorney or could have one. They suggested no less than 5 that he get one. However, the defendant was, I guess, blowing his nose since snot was running down, his mucus running down his face, tears all down his eyes. He was crying literally for his mama. He didn't want a lawyer. They were telling him his mother couldn't be present, but he was crying. And he offered them all of his, what do you call them, his posse, Short Dog, Stomp, Little Earl, and whatever. I think, by the way, aren't they in the courtroom? They identified themselves here. Take them into custody under suspicion for armed robbery here. Okay, no bond. We'll come back to that later. Meanwhile, let's go on to the next matter. Motion to suppress denied. Set this matter for, do we need another status conference on this? Everybody all right? Any problems with the witnesses? All right, ma'am, get me a trial date, July 27th. That's on a Monday. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's do that. Next matter.
Well,
See,
like I said, you have been driving some dimes tonight, man. But to wrap up, I got some things I got to do in the morning. But I want you to take your time, keep up the fire, man. Keep doing the show on Friday. Black Power, blessings, and I want you to just keep on telling it. This was an interesting chat room tonight. So take your time and do your thing. Black power. And
And man, look here. I know some other pretty ladies that have called in here. Let's see. I bet Dana's called in. I bet Dr. Johnson's called in. I don't know if Valerie's called in, but you sure got some fine regulars up in here. I likes that, man. I ain't as good as I used to be, but most of the time I'm better than I ever was before.
Well, you keep on pushing and keep on giving out knowledge, man. I'll talk to you later.
I'm out of here, brother.
All right, you too, brother.